Someday, this job will be yours, son.
Wait, you don't own this restaurant?
All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. We are here with another episode of BILLINICO commentary. And today we're going to be talking about Dame Dash, legendary businessman, CEO of Rockefeller in the 90s. Also helped start Rachel Roy, a $100 million company. Also was a part of Rockaware, which was, I believe, 75 million, 100 million. You know, my channel isn't the news. I'm going to take some business lessons. I'm going to use his interview as a case study and present the business lessons that he gave in this, entertaining interview at that. I was waiting on Dame Dash to do this interview because I knew there would be so much insight and so much we could take from it. Whenever Dame Dash speaks, he doesn't disappoint. He brings value and something that you could take back to your real life, and you can do with the information what you will, but you can't say you listen to him and you haven't learned something. So it's important to make sure that you spend your time wisely and invest your time doing the right things, which is why I'm making content like this. Again, some people might think it's boring, it's monotone, there's so much different content on the internet right now, but at the end of the day, people are going to realize what matters because times change, culture changes, right? So there's going to be a point where you might need to change what you listen to. So what does that mean? You can't just watch, these pop the balloon videos and you ain't got no money in your bank account. You're seeing other people living wherever they want in the country, traveling wherever they want. And you're like, wow, how did they get there? How did they create that? Are they just rappers? Are they basketball players? Or did they do something different? I have an idea about business. I know investing is popular, but what are the specifics? That's where channels like myself come into play, because we get into the mentality and the mindset that it takes in order to achieve things in this society. There are a lot of distractions and there are a lot of things that are put in front of us that really aren't here to serve us. And you have to really, really pay close attention. Dame Dash, I would say, gave a masterclass on The Breakfast Club. This is his best interview. And everyone knows the classic interview that he did, the first interview, which ironically, if anyone that knows the history of that interview, Dame Dash came up there. He pretty much schools them about what it means to be a boss. He explained to people, the Black community and the people that watch this content on a regular, because I don't watch The Breakfast Club. I only watch The Breakfast Club when they have these extraordinary guests, which has been rare lately. Again, I don't know who they've been having up there. Maybe they've had some extraordinary guests, but I haven't seen him. It hasn't hit my algorithm. But Dame Dash he's an extraordinary guest. So you can learn from an interview such as this. And when Dame Dash went up there the first time, they gave him pushback. He explained what it means to be a boss. And like I said, this community does not even understand. They didn't at the time understand just the mindset of what it means to be a boss, to be the owner, to not technically depend on a job. And again, Dame, I don't think is saying there's anything wrong with a job at a certain point in time, but he's just talking about the mentality. And honestly, even if he is saying, what he thinks is bad to get a job from someone else, what is wrong with that? If he is a man, listen, you know how many people come from other countries and they never work for another person? No, Dame is not saying entrepreneurship is easy. Yes, when you start a business, you are most likely creating a job for yourself initially. So what? The point is you own it and you control it and you control your time. That's the most sovereign thing you can do as a human man on this planet, is own your time, own your resources. control the amount of money you make or influence, the amount of money that you make. Not depend on a person above you to ask them, because no man above you is no man should be above you except God. Now, I understand people that say you can also work a job or you could become a professional, because everyone didn't start like that and everyone didn't have that mentality. And I think if you get in the right profession, you have different skill sets, and you want to, look at it like an internship. I wish Dane Dash explained that example more, because you can learn the same way he had an OG. You can learn from, just getting a job. You can learn from a manager. You can learn from a director. You can learn from an executive as you climb these ranks. Now, you should always have the mentality of ownership, especially as a man. You should figure out how can you control as many assets and resources, even if you just own it, even if you work a job for the rest of your life. You should have some kind of asset accumulation going on, whether that's through stocks, whether that's through real estate. Now we have crypto. You can collect art. You should have some kind of accumulation of some type of assets outside of your labor. You should not be depending strictly on your labor. Even if you're an entrepreneur, you shouldn't be depending strictly on your labor. Your labor should be creating a product, right, that can outlast the initial labor that you put in, or a service that can outlast the initial labor that you put in. So where you have a physical, tangible product that could be sold, right? Or whether it's a service that can be sold where you might have to provide the service initially, but then that service is able to be done. Hey, look, we have technology now. Maybe your service can be automated. Maybe what you do can be automated. Or maybe you can just replace yourself as another man and just hire another person, and they can expand and you can maybe stay on for a little while. It's just the thought of these things that should be considered in every young man's mind. And that's not pushed. That's not talked about. So even if he has a discussion and he's having pushback, it's good because it breaks the norm. People, even though entrepreneurship has gotten popular, it would have never gotten to this point, where we have the EYLs and the Dame Dashes have pushed them, and the Wall Street Trappers, and these different financial literacy podcasters, and even the regular podcasts have talked more about business as of late. You can't say that just came out of nowhere. Dame Dash, I would say, was an early adopter. That's another key word that I want people to identify. Early adoption or early adopter. He's also going to bring up family offices, a well-rounded experience that I can also bring to the table. And I'm able to recognize things as I learn business, study business, implement business from the things that I see from people such as Dame Dash. Dame Dash basically went on the Breakfast Club, and he reminded us what it means to move like a man in business. Charlamagne and DJ Envy, they're trying to clown him. Dame stayed firm. He talks ownership, family offices, like I said, and he even brought up the Godfather's mentality. Everyone loves the Godfather, and how Michael wasn't the biggest, wasn't the strongest, he wasn't the toughest, but he was fearless and he was calculated.
Let's set the meeting. Get our informers to find out where it's going to be held. Now, we insist it's a public place, a bar, a restaurant, someplace where there's people, so I feel safe. You're going to search me when I first meet them, right? So I can't have a weapon on me then. But if Clemenza can figure a way to have a weapon planted there for me, then I'll kill them both.
He had the balls. Once, even if you watch the first Godfather, when his father gets shot, Michael's father didn't want that life for him. He wanted his son almost to like go into the system, kind of. His family business, his family office at the time, the Corleone family, just because of the time period that they were in and the fight for power, it involved violence. It involved danger. And that was just what came with the territory to reach the level of power that they had at that time. Now, depending on where you're at in society, you might not know, what is going on at the top, but we have an idea. And it's violence, of course, is still there, but the violence aspect is more at the bottom now, or solely at the bottom, I would say. Now, the things that they deal with at the top, lawsuits, media smear campaigns, bad press, public shaming. That's the type of games that are played with the elites now, at least the ones that are in the public eye, because there are a lot of elites. And when I say elites, I don't mean in a conspiracy way. I mean the people that are the richest people on the planet, the people that are wealthy. You can be an elite person too if you choose to go on that journey. But a lot of elites are not in the public eye. So they get to avoid a lot of these things, or at least minimize the risk that comes with being wealthy on that level. So a lot of those things, the mentality that the Godfather had, Michael, in order to achieve, the level of success in running his father's organization and taking it to higher, heights, you need to have certain characteristics. You have to be brave. You have to be fearless. You have to be smart. Michael stepped up to the plate, and it didn't look like he knew exactly what he was doing, but he stepped into the role. And once he stepped into the role, he never let him see him sweat. And the only time Michael really took L's was when it was from people closest to him, his family. Think about that. It's real when you are good at something and you're successful, whether you watch it in movies, it's really hard to catch someone like that off their A game. It's usually from the people closest to them. Look at Dame Dash. Dame Dash was on the high. He was $100 million companies, had even more ideas. What was going to stop what they were doing? What was it? Just because he was loud? I'm pretty sure he was loud the 5 years prior to that. These narratives that are created, right? It's big money. Sounds like Jay-Z, rightfully so, because you don't have to work with someone if you don't want to work with them, but it is what it is. He was close to Dame and he did something that hurt Dame's pockets, his business. Dame had a divorce, I believe, where that hurt his pockets as well. These are people close to you. Michael Corleone, his brother, Fredo. Oh, in the first movie, his family friend, I forgot his name, tried to set up the Barzini meeting. Even in the second movie, his wife was emotional all the time. Now, I mean, you could say rightfully so because of the transpired in their family business, but at the same time, it is what it is. That's your man. You gotta help him as best you can. But because she was born outside of that, outside of those customs and traditions, that made it difficult for Michael. Because she bought into who Michael was outside of being that type of businessman. And I think I should do a breakdown of the Godfather movie because that is a great movie to break down. And I'm glad Dame Dash brought up the Godfather because, again, I use like the Joe Budden podcast, the Breakfast Club, Earn Your Leisure. Shout out to Earn Your Leisure, by the way. Even though they blocked me on the channel from Super Chat, which is cool. But I criticize certain things, but I'm not gossiping. I'm criticizing things that they say publicly. And I'm more than willing to speak to any of these guys in their face online on my Ever Newer channel. But I'm pretty sure if you really deep dive into my content, if you go to BILLINICO.com as well, you would also see, what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to put together. You will get a good understanding of my perspective and what I'm trying to contribute. And I just use, these public figures and these public platforms as case studies so I can further the conversation or educate as well as best as I can. So with that being said, 14 minutes in. Let's play the video and let's see what Dame says. What he's talking about.
Turn other people.
Yeah.
So the reason why I filed was because I've had $20 million of taxes. First off, do you know anybody that paid $25 million of taxes in your life? Name one person you know.
Okay, so here Dame Dash is a very simple question. Do you know anyone that's paid $25 million in taxes? That's a lot of money. So if he's paying that in taxes, how much money is he generating in general? It never made sense to me that somebody like Dame Dash or these guys make so much money and they know about how to make more money. They know how to invest. They know about assets. They know about the different markets. They were in alcohol. They even talked about oil 25 years ago. So you're telling me these same people out of nowhere just broke? They don't know how to do nothing? Like Dame Dash is out of nowhere. Nothing works for him. He don't know how to do nothing. I never believed that. And you can ask my lady. You can ask her. I said, Dame, this dude is like, what's the movie that I saw? Dang, Dame is like the kingpin and Jay made a move. And Dame is like the kingpin that's just been the kingpin still in the cut. Letting you say whatever, playing broke. But I followed this dude on Instagram for 10 years. Yo, this dude's Instagram, and he posts pretty much every day. Dame Dash posts on Instagram pretty much every day, which is smart, by the way. You want to do that as a person that's promoting your stuff. But dude be chilling. I ain't never seen this guy somewhere he don't want to be. Dude be when he was in California, dude waking up to the mountains, pool, his kids there. And people saying you want to no, it's Instagram. You know, you might check your Instagram real quick. My Instagram totals for the day is probably like 5-6 minutes. I swear. Because there's only certain things I look at. I read a couple stories, might look at a couple pictures, and that's it. And I always look at Dame because Dame is always posting something that's pretty like grounding. You see the dude eating breakfast with his family, driving his kids to school. He's working on some kind of project in his studios. TV's there, people around him. He's writing stuff down. Dude look like he just be living his life, eating, chilling, and working. But his working looks so. Listen, man, that's how I live now a little bit because I seen how he did it, and I don't trip when I do certain things in my real life because I'm like, oh, okay, this is how you do it. And before I got different people I follow that have different criticisms of Dame and they have different business tactics. I'm not saying I don't put in the work that I need to do. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying watching the dude wake up with his family every day when he wants to, run his own staff. Then he's chilling while he's doing it. It does something for you. You got to see it in order to do it yourself. You got to see something. You got to see how something is done sometimes. The visualization, it helps. So when you want to manifest and create your life, you know if you're doing things that are fruitful for your bottom line, which is what you want your end goal to be. So the media will point out that he pays that he's in debt, but they won't, report when he pays the debt off. And again, I said, once you reach high levels of wealth, what is going on? It's media games. It's media games. Look at Trump. And I'm surprised Dame is talking about Trump in this way because I've also heard Dame criticize Trump and kind of give him, some unfair criticisms, or maybe they're fair. But Trump got destroyed by the media as soon as he went for a power play, which is the presidency. And he was messing with certain people's. Listen, once you mess with certain things and you're a disruptor in whatever industry, the political industry, Donald Trump, he flipped it. Know how many people now are invested in politics? How many people now are like knowledgeable about legislation and pay attention to different things and pay attention to what the politicians are saying? Are they following through? what is really going on with them. That's what Dame is doing in at least the business mentality, entrepreneurship. He gets a certain community to think. He gets the people to think and consider these situations.